Okay, fine. I'll give you a couple of insights from the textbooks that what textbooks are trying to tell us about the business ethics. Business ethics are the moral principles that govern person's behavior or the conduct of an activity. Conduct of an activity is basically more concerned with us because we are the business. It is a branch of knowledge which deals with the moral principles. Morality and business, should they go hand in hand, or businesses can ignore the laws of morality? But laws of morality basically are very, very subjective. The laws of morality in some other country are going to be totally different than the laws of morality in our country, right? And until and unless, and we know any business which is established in any country is required to abide by the laws of the land. So if my business is established in India, then I am required to abide with the laws of India. If my business is established in some other country, let's say Africa, Nigeria, then I am required to abide with the laws of the Nigeria. Or if my business is established in Australia and USA, then again I am required to abide with the laws of the USA or Australia. So morality is subjective. Morality of one person from one country can be totally different from the morality of other person from other country. And we know businesses are in multi countries, multinational companies are there. So ethics is the branch of knowledge that deals with the moral principles which are subjective, which can change from person to person. Again, makes the concept a bit dicey, a bit unclear. Ethics are well founded standards of right and wrong, and it prescribes as to how humans should behave, usually with regards to rights, correctness, obligations, benefits to society, fairness, or specific virtues. One more time, we have seen it so many times in Bollywood movies or in some Hollywood movies also that your right can be different from my right. Right itself is a very, very subjective concept. Wrong itself is a very, very subjective concept. From person to person, the concept of right to wrong changes. Then how this liquid of a concept can be applied to the businesses which are spanning across the countries, which are selling the products across the globe, right? Ethics, and then there are some arguments which are going directly in contrast with the concept which textbooks are promoting. One argument was ethics are about my feelings that tell me right from wrong. This actually is in direct contrast with the well-founded standards of right and wrong in the earlier point. Ethics are about my religious beliefs. So all of us can follow different religions and all of us are going to have different beliefs. And with our own belief system, we are going to create our own behavior. And with our own behavior, the right to me is going to be different from the right to you. Being ethical means doing what the law prescribes. And law itself is something which is supposed to be clearly, precisely written and applicable to any and everybody. But laws from country to country change, and laws from situation to situation change. Like a soldier is allowed to attack, but you as a civilian is not allowed to attack, right? A policeman is allowed to carry arms and ammunition, but you as a civilian are not allowed to carry arms and ammunition without proper licensing. So again, being ethical means doing what law prescribes. Law itself is changeable from situation to situation. Ethics tend to prescribe the socially acceptable behavior. One more time, going directly against with the with the concept that textbooks are trying to provide to us. Socially acceptable, if one society accepts one behavior as an approved behavior, there are 99% chances that some other society is going to reject that behavior, right? And one genius actually told us in his own textbook that I don't know what the word ethics means, and this statement actually is applicable to all of us. We all don't know what the word business ethics means or what ethics means. So, what is the thought that we should proceed from here? Which thought we should carry in order to understand the subject in a better manner? Please help me. No answer? And then, as a student of ethics, it is something which we should carry the thought forward. Being ethical doesn't mean following one's feeling. More than often, feelings and ethics are in direct contrast. Hence, following the feelings might stop you from taking the right action. This thought actually is open to very intense discussions. So if I have told you so many times that the course that you kids have joined is basically about you being more able to express your thoughts. If you are unable to express your thoughts and you are the good kid of class 4 or 5, wherein teacher tells you that he would appreciate the kids who are keeping the most quiet. The kids are required to smile and keep quiet all the time in the classroom. So you kids have grown from that level. You are doing your master's course. After this, if you want to study, then you have to require you are required to write your own, which is the PhD thesis. Right? So at master's level, you kids seriously are not supposed to keep quiet because till now you have studied all the books possible in that particular subject, or you are going through with the books which are at the top of their order. So from here, if you want to know new, then you have to create new. And in order to create new, you are expected to discuss or critique the existing. Because improvement is one way of creating new. If you don't critique the existing knowledge, then you won't be able to create new knowledge. So at your level, you are required, you seriously, desperately required to critique the knowledge. And whatever books are telling us about the ethics or business ethics, I have given you a snapshot. So please help me in understanding which is the thought that we should carry forward from here. Ethics are required or not, business ethics are possible or not, or if business ethics are possible, then aren't we harming our own country or company or not? Take one, coexistence. Coexistence means Shinmay has told me that it is about coexistence. Coexistence means what? We should say yes or no to any concept which is being promoted by the ethics. What is it? Chinmay, what do you mean by giving me this word coexistence? Nope. And these are the further views of those scholars in which they are telling us that ethics and religion also has very little in common. Though most religions do emphasize upon very high ethical standards, but very often the atheists also have very high ethical standards. So the person who believe in God have high ethical standards, but the people who do not believe in God, who are atheists, they also can carry ethical standards, right? And it is not only religious people who are able to maintain the high ethical standards; it is also the people who don't believe in God. And I have given you this thought of Stephen Hawking earlier when he was told about the existence of God after getting the seat of Einstein, that since he was the biggest scientist, so one reporter asked him, "Sir, now that you are the biggest scientist and you have given us the origin of universe, you have given us the starting of time, you have given us anything and everything possible under the umbrella of science. So please tell us whether God exists or not." Then Stephen Hawking started with few numbers. He said that there are 2 to 20 power 11 stars in our own galaxy, that is Milky Way, and there are 1 into 20 power 12 galaxies like ours or bigger than ours in our universe. If you multiply both the numbers, then it becomes some 2 into 20 power 23 stars. And this number of stars who actually are going to have more number of planets, who actually are going to have some planets which are habitable and then some species. But this 2 into 20 power 23, if you count all the sand particles on all the beaches on Earth, then this 2 into 20 power 23 is going to be bigger than all the sand particles on Earth. So if anybody wants to believe that, so nobody has created this world, that man is making a mistake, somebody is there, a creator is there who is able to create this much of a big world. But if anybody wants to believe that the creator is able to look at one sand particle, and on that sand particle, one planet, on that one planet, out of those million species, one species, and out of that one species, some like we are how many? 600 million, huh? Yes, on Earth we are 600 million. So out of those 600 million people, God is able to see you. That basically is something which is impossible, right? So yes, God is there, Creator is there, but Creator does not know you. Creator is not aware about your existence. So that part is also there. And now everybody is should look after himself. One is required to look after oneself. All those things basically are quite in discussion. So religion and ethics also have nothing in common, and there is no way that some supreme power is going to prescribe you a path which is acceptable or agreeable. This is one thought which is given by Stephen Hawking, the biggest scientist on earth. Now he is no more, but he actually gave this thought, right? Then other contention about that ethics do generate or are conceived from the concepts of law. This part has also been argued by the thinkers or the researchers. Ethics and law also are not in direct harmony. It has been observed that ethics and law can be in direct contrast. The law do incorporate ethical standards quite often, and to which the citizens subscribe. But law can go astray from the ethics also, right? So anything which is right, anything which is just, or anything which is required by the law of the land, they can be in direct contrast. Like one contention is if a person is let's say penalized with a death penalty, then to keep on living is one of the rights that all the animals and humans do earn by taking birth, right? And no matter what happens, if any person has committed any crime, even then he does not lose his right to live. And in animal world, we have seen this. Animals do kill other animals to keep on living, right? So we as humans should not be allowed to take the life of some other person, but law prescribes it. There in certain circumstances, people should be penalized with the death penalty, and then law is not in sync with. Give me a sec. Hello. Yes. Hello. G. Hello. Sorry for the interruption. But still, the question is that if ethics and law are different, if ethics and religion are different, if ethics and social beliefs are different, then how we are supposed to understand what is it that he as business graduates should be applying in our life as well as in the businesses that we are going to start or join. Please help me. Now the fresh question is there because I just read the message of Chinmay that this is the answer to today's question, coexistence. So fine, Chinmay, I have a new question that how and what we are supposed to apply whenever we are studying the subject business ethics, and what is it that we are required to follow throughout our lives whenever we are going to join or start our own business. Tell me. And see, finally, the social acceptance cannot be construed as being ethical. In any society, most will accept standards that are in fact ethical for the time. Anything which is accepted in a society at any given point of time can deviate from what is ethical. An entire society can become ethically correct, like dowry, child marriage, denial of higher education to girls, are quite few examples which were socially accepted but were not the least at any point of time were ethical. And all those things are socially accepted, right? So, social acceptance, religion, and law. I seriously am unable to understand whether these things are in compliance with each other and can give us the true sense of business ethics. And if you can speak, then it is gonna be a lot better because writing a message takes a lot of time. Please try to speak, and speaking is one of the things that is required out of all of you. Hello. Ethics should be followed to some level, but not at all. It should be kept as a principle so that people can follow when some people can't take decisions. Because this is such a जिसको कहते हैं ना घुमा के आंसर देना. So you have chosen all the right words, but the essence is not clear to me or most of your batchmates who are new to this subject. So can you explain your point a bit more? Ethics should be followed to some level, but not all. So हम लोगों को ethics कभी कभी follow करनी चाहिए, कभी कभी follow नहीं करनी चाहिए. It should be kept as a principle so that people can follow when some people can take decision. ये हमारा गाइडिंग प्रिंसिपल होना चाहिए जिसमें कुछ लोगों को डिसीजन लेने में मदद मिले जब डिसीजन लेना थोड़ा मुश्किल हो. लेकिन इसमें भी अभी तक समझ नहीं आया क्योंकि until us we are able to understand the genesis of ethics, how and why we should follow or comply with the rules or laws of ethics, then we would not be able to accept it in totality. And if businesses are not ethical, then business world is going to become a battlefield. And in battlefield, there is only a bloodbath, right? So your answer, though, is correct, but it is having all the right words and is not giving me the correct essence of the answer. Let's break the question in certain factors. Why businesses should follow ethics? This is question one. Please tell me why businesses should follow ethics. What is it? Because businesses, I know businesses are established to earn profits.
Hello,
If we
sir.
leave the NGOs out of our discussion, if we leave the not for profit organization right now from our discussion, then businesses are established only for profits. Profits are only gonna come when we win the customer. Winning the customer is only gonna happen when we are providing better products with better quality at better prices than the competitors. Now, if we are providing anything and everything better to the customer, then competitor is gonna suffer. And if competitor is suffering, that simply means we are acquiring the total market. It's gonna become monopolistic market or oligopolistic market. And this kind of a marketplace has already been denounced or renounced by the thinkers or the researchers. They tell us that whenever the market is monopolistic or oligopolistic, then companies are able to play unfair. Companies are able to provide the lesser quality at a higher price. Companies are able to take the prices in their own hand. Instead of market deciding the price band for the product, the companies are able to take the pricing in their own hand. Pricing strategies you will study later in some of your courses. The pricing itself is a very, very key question. And price always is able to determine how the company will be able to enter the market, how fast a company will be able to acquire the market. If the prices are lower, the market size is going to become larger. If the prices are higher, even then the companies are able to acquire the niche market. All those things are going to happen, right? So, though answer is correct, but I still am not able to understand. And one more type textbooks come for our help. Ethics, the set of standards or code or value system worked out from resource or human reason and experience by which free human actions are determined as ultimately right or wrong, good or evil. And this is the key statement that we can get from the textbooks. Worked out from human reason experience by which free human actions are determined ultimately right or wrong. And this word ultimately is the key here. Because I have given you example from socially accepted, dowry was accepted at one point of time. Girls were not allowed to take the education or higher education at one point of time in some cultures, right? And those things were socially acceptable, but those things were wrong. That's why the human society progressed and they removed those things or those contexts prevalent in the society by law, right? So how this ultimate right or wrong is going to be as judged or determined? How we can determine something as ultimate right or something as ultimate wrong? What is it? And I can tell you, see, if let's say in order to create a road, we are required to cut or clear a forest. Like our road from Guwahati to Dibrugarh, it is passing through Kaziranga National Park. And this national highway that we are trying to broaden up requires the area in that national park to be cleared. So, and we all know if roads are constructed, then transportation is going to increase, then the movement of goods is going to increase, and if movement of goods increases, then it is possible to take the finished goods to the consumer and take the finished goods from producer to the consumer. Both way it happens, right? So businesses are going to increase if we are able to broaden this road from Guwahati to Dibrugarh. The network, by making the network strong, we increase the employment, we increase the business, we increase the visibility of the area. All those things we increase. By clearing the national park, we actually are going to create a damage which is going to start giving us the effects of it some 10 or 15 years after. So, broadening the road is going to be right now, but it could be wrong in a longer duration. Okay, fine. One more time we're going to start. So, what is this ultimate right or wrong? Please help me in understanding this keyword, which I would like to believe is going to decide our future course of action or decisions that we would be taking. What is this ultimate right or wrong? And I can give you a number of examples. Whenever any development project starts happening, it requires to demolish some of the existing structures. Structures could be forest, structures could be anything, but any development starts demolishing the existing structure. And it should be would be better for today. It should be good for the society today. but it can have a long-term effect on the society in a longer duration. Pollution norms we all know. Some 15 years ago, we were not the least concerned with the pollution norms as they are concerned right now. And we are seeing the bad effects of the pollution happening to us. The area in which we are living, Assam, Northeast right now, it was at one point of time was the part of rainforest, right? It was one of the most lush green area in the country. Even now, people are able to claim that they have not been able to explore the total Northeast because of there are no road networks and places are which are unexplored right now. Places are there which can become a tourist attraction for the globe. And if we start inviting tourists, if we start developing network, if we start making the roads stronger, then the area would develop. But it might require it would lead to more pollution, it would lead to more vehicles, it would lead to some more bad things. All those things are gonna start happening. So anything which is good right now is correct right now, might be, might not be correct in a longer duration. So how do we decide this ultimate right or wrong? Please help me. For me, there is no ultimate right or wrong. For me, something is wrong, maybe right for someone. It is based on one's perception or seeing things. See, this is the same idea that I am trying to punch in with the kids, and I need kids to oppose this idea. Son, this is not the correct idea. This is not the right thing. This is not the right way to think about the word business ethics. Whatever I am trying to give you is all the negations which textbooks are giving you, so that you can ultimately start supporting the textbook. You should start thinking in the direction in which you are able to support the textbook. That if something is written in the textbook, then it is time tested. If something is written and is being taught to the kids of younger generations, then it holds validity for a longer duration, right? It becomes timeless. Like when we were kids, we were all of us were taught that speaking truth all the time is the best policy. And even now we might lie some point of time, but we all know truth is the best policy. And we are going to teach our younger ones, the younger brothers or sisters, or some later point of time in life when you are going to have your own kids, you would teach them to speak truth all the time. So anything which is written in textbook is timeless, it is correct for always. So, though you are supporting the teachers you right now, but it is not in sync with the textbook. I want my kids to start supporting the textbook. All the negations I am giving you, all you are required to do is negate me. Tell me, ki, no, sir, this is the wrong thought, and the correct thought should be this, or something different. So please help me. बताओगे या मैं आगे चलूं? अच्छा बेटा मैं मतलब to all the kids, because only one kid is talking to me right now. So this message is for all the kids, that the lesser you would speak, the lesser known you would become in the world. ये मेरा as a old person you can take it as instruction. The lesser you would speak, the lesser people would come to you, know you. The lesser people know you, the more unknown person you would become. And this is not for what our parents are educated. This is not for what we are paying the education fees. This is not for what we are devoting our times in the class. We all want to grow from our current status. We all want to become a known person in our society. We all want to grow beyond the scope of our present status. We all want to become bigger, better known. And speaking less is one of the first obstacle in you becoming a known person. तो जो इतने सारे बच्चे कुछ नहीं बोल रहे हैं, ये बहुत खराब बात है। मतलब I don't know whether you kids are able to understand this point or not, but speaking less is something damaging your future prospects. Right? Speak anything. Anything is good with मुझे I just need to know कि in what line my kids are thinking. Because as a teacher right now, all of us are required to think in the line of the textbook. All of us are required to accept the concept of the textbook in a rational manner so that we can only ingest or digest the information of the textbook, not only cram it and forget it. Cramming is the worst part that you would be doing to your own knowledge bank. Right now, you are required to criticize, rationalize, and accept anything and everything which is logical. Though I have told you earlier that yes, textbooks, the information given in textbooks is timeless, but improvement in textbooks happens only with the discussions that happen in the classroom. Because kids of the newer generation are able to bring in new information, and that new information, if it fails the existing concepts in the textbook, then we are able to develop the new text concept and a new textbook. But if kids are not bringing in the new information, then only we can assume that the information available in the textbook is timeless and is undisputable, which is not the correct process of we humans growth. हम लोग के लिए ग्रोथ के लिए खराब है ये बात। तो कुछ तो बोलो यार प्लीज, ऐसा मत करो। And in university we are also creating those social distancing type of classrooms. So I have a very strong belief that very soon we are going to meet in person. But till then, it is the voice only that we can send across, and we can become known to one another. And it is requirement of all of you budding professionals to be known in whatever circle you are moving or operating. You should be a known person. So in your classroom also, you are required to be a known person. Otherwise, business world is very very strict, very very cruel. They like the people who are more expressive. They like the people who are able to rationalize. They like the people who are able to judge the correctness or incorrectness of an action or a thought or even a product. You seriously are required to speak. And if we don't start speaking from day one, then the day when we should start speaking would never come. Like sprinting, if we are not practicing to run every day for some exercise purpose, then ultimately a day would come that we would not be able to walk here. हम सब लोगों को रोज एक्सरसाइज करनी चाहिए with this contention that we can remain a walking person throughout our life. जितना कम हम एक्सरसाइज करेंगे उतना ही चांस ये होंगे कि हम लोग आगे वॉक भी ना कर पाए। वो चीज हमारे स्पीकिंग कैपेसिटी पे भी अप्लाई होती है। The lesser we would speak, then the day when we are desperately required to speak would never come. Or if it comes, then we would not be able to speak. And we would fail in mission or occasion. I'm not sure whether you kids are able to understand the point. कुछ भी मुझे बोलो या लिख के बताओ, प्लीज बताओ, मैं आगे यहाँ से इसको चलूँ, ये बातें क्लियर हैं तो मैं आगे चलूँ।
You can go.
क्या बोला बेटा?
Hello.
आह,
Sir, you can go ahead, sir.
बेटा खराब बात है ना ये। मैं चाहता हूँ तुम लोग कोई पॉइंट बोलो, तुम लोग कुछ आर्ग्यू करो, कोई कोई डिस्कशन के लिए कुछ कुछ तो टॉपिक निकले। आगे तो
Sir,
मैं चला ही जाऊंगा।
actually, I don't know, sir. Sir, actually, I don't know this answer, sir. So let them to speak, sir. Actually, I don't know, seriously. When
बेटा
I'm
आंसर, there is no right or wrong answer right now. All we are trying to discuss is whether the concepts being taught to us by the textbooks are right or wrong. are applicable practically in our life or not. If these concepts are not practically applicable, then we should not be devoting our time to understand these concepts. We are going to enter the business world. In business world, everything has to be practically applicable and rational. तो अगर मैं आप लोगों को आज मैं वैदिक मंत्र सिखाने लगूं या एनी वे ऑफ वर्शिपिंग मैं सिखाने लगूं, so that would not help you in terms of getting a job. But you speaking, you
This
judging,
is
you
also
even
right.
saying yes or no would help you in getting a job. है ना? क्योंकि तुम लोग यकीन मानो बोलना इतना
Yes, sir.
जरूरी है तुम लोगों के लिए अब ना कि सिंपल हाँ या ना भी फर्क डालेगी. अच्छा मेरा तो टाइम ही खत्म हो रहा है, अब 5 मिनट्स बचे हैं सिर्फ, लोग कुछ नहीं बोले. Anyway, so I am moving forward. And now the textbooks are giving us another view that ethics is a two-faceted concept. Two-faceted is a negative word. Though the textbook never wanted to use it in this concept that it is a negative word, but they wanted to tell us that ethics have two faces. Ethics can be viewed in two stances. And those two stances I have given you already. One is that yes, ethics are required to be followed. Second is that we should be very very rational about understanding things which are ethical right now and which are gonna be ethical in a longer duration. So anything which is gonna become ethical for a longer duration should be more acceptable. But anything which is ethical right now is applicable, and it is the requirement of us. It is these are the two phases of the ethics. That one thing which is acceptable right now should be acceptable in a longer duration also. One thing which is good for the society right now should be good for the society in a longer duration. So we are required to see every decision of business of or ours in two dimensions. One, whether it is good right now or not. Second, whether it is gonna be good in a longer duration or not. So as textbooks are telling us that ethics also refer to standards that are imposed by law as well as the reasonable obligations to refrain from stealing, assault, fraud, rape, murder, slander, etc. Ethics should also include virtues like compassion, honesty, loyalty, and incorporate the basic human rights such as the right to freedom from injury, right to life, and right to privacy. And and one more time, I seriously am not in sync with, because if I am considering myself as a beginner in the field of business ethics, then this right to privacy, I seriously want to understand why businesses are allowed, why businesses should be allowed to have the right to privacy. Because if businesses are established for the welfare of the society, if businesses are established to provide employment in the society, businesses are established to convert the raw material available in the environment into some finished product. So they ultimately are applying or using or utilizing the raw materials which were lying idle earlier. So they are collecting all the idle resources, and those idle resources could be man, money, machine, material. All those things are going to become the idle resources. And then they create an operating cycle in which they apply all those four idle resources into an operating cycle to come out with a finished product which is usable by the society. Right? And in order to use the society, they are required to show what type of a raw material they are using, they are required to show what type of machinery they are using, they are required to show what type of people they are hiring, they are required to show what the product quality should be or would be. Everything they are required to declare. And if the business is also having the shareholders, then it is the right of the shareholders to get the complete information from the company, because it is their money with which the company is operating. Right. So the only objection to me right now is this right to privacy. Under what circumstances, under what garb the company should have this right to privacy? Because they are required to declare anything and everything, right from profits to the operating cycles to the cost. They are required to declare. So from where this right to privacy comes? चलो खैर जाने दो, आज तुम लोग कोई बात नहीं कर रहे हो. So I am finishing this class right now, but I need to take the attendance, right? So I am calling the names. Please unmute your mics and answer your name. Preeti, Preeti Farheen, Devajyoti,
Yes, sir.
Devajyoti, done. Apoyja Maheshwar, Suzanne Rose, Shatakshi, Basabjit, Papia, Masrura, Hitesh Jogi, Ankit Kumar, Shailesh,
Ankit present, sir.
Ankit present.
Yes, sir.
कौन बेटा कौन बोला? Who is this girl who said yes sir? Masrura Begum or Papi Asel?